初めての相手はジョジョではない。このディオだ。
This is a 2.5D stage play, and this right here is the JoJo Bizarre Adventure Phantom Blood musical. But what is the difference between a 2.5D stage play and just a regular musical? We'll be answering that question in this very video, so stick around to find out. A 2.5D stage play is a term for stage adaptations of originally 2D work. Think of manga, anime or video games. By 2D works, it doesn't mean that they are made in a 2D style. 3D animation and 3D video games are also in theory 2D works, as they only exist inside of the 2D world of a screen. And 3D, by following that train of thought, is everything that happens in real life. So what makes these plays 2.5D and not just regular 3D? Well, it has to do with the visualization. 2.5D is the act of trying to emulate the style, looks and aesthetics of 2D art, but representing it in 3D space with real life people, as they give you these originally screen and page locked stories into the real world. The earliest example of that is the Rose of Versailles musical that came out in 1974. However, that play was closely associated with regular musicals, as most modern 2.5D stage plays have characteristics that do not align with the Rose of Versailles musicals, or any other musicals for that matter, as many associate traditional musicals by already well-established actors performing classical musicals, while 2.5 stage plays don't need established actors to sell their play, as the name of the show is already doing that. So they more often than not use a lot of newer, inexperienced actors, so they can be molded into the exact character they need to play. Thanks to this, 2.5D plays are a very popular stepping stones for new actors willing to make it into the Japanese acting world. Apparently, one of the joys of people watching the same performance multiple times among its run is to see the evolution of the actors performing in these stage plays, who over time both grow in their acting skill, but also their familiarity in the character they're playing. Now, aside from stage plays, are there any other things that are 2.5D? Well, yes, of course. Any real-life depiction of 2D work could basically fall under it. Like that time Tiger Mask leaped out of the pages of its own wrestling-inspired manga onto the squared circle of a wrestling ring. Similarly, live performances of voice actors dressed as their characters should also be counted as 2.5D performances. Hell, any sort of cosplay or even figures could count as a form of 2.5D artistry, as they're bringing 2D imagery into the real life world. But that is a discussion some aren't ready for yet. So you might think, are live action movie and TV shows based on anime and manga also 2.5D shows? Well, no, as they are filmed and eventually edited and shown into a 2D format, only to be shown on a 2D screen. The important factor is that it has to be live and you have to be there, seeing these actors and production companies act out and bring to life these fantastical stories that previously lived only in the 2D realm, and try to keep it as close to the source material as possible. While the 2.5D Musical Association was founded in 2014, the term existed among fans long before that, and its popularity was already increasing by the year. In 2013 alone, 70 2.5D musicals were produced in Japan, with at least 1.6 million attending these. So what happened before 2014 to make 2.5D plays so popular among the Japanese demographic that it didn't even need to have its own association pumping money into it to thrive? As I mentioned before, one of the earliest musical adaptations of a manga was the Rose of Versailles, done by the Takarazuka Revue, an all-female musical theater troupe. The success of this particular musical has basically opened the door of every other stage play based on an anime, manga or a video game. Back in 1993, Sailor Moon started its own musical, known as Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. The musical was released alongside the anime of Sailor Moon and played 3 times a year, during winter, spring and summer holidays for Japanese schools. This run was very popular and brought a new generation into theaters to check out their favorite show, but in real life, or in 2.5D. Hunter x Hunter also had a stage play in 2000. What made Hunter x Hunter stage play so special was that it was the very first time that voice actors of the anime participated in the stage play and acted out their own characters.
おい大丈夫か？
ずいぶんうなされていたぞ。
とても怖い夢見たよ。
まったくお前子供だな。
子供だもん。
どんな夢だったんだ？
その黒いのがズーンってドカンって。忘れちった。
Yes, these might not be the voice actors you're used to, as these were the ones from the 1999 anime. But if you listen closely, you might recognize Gon's voice actress.
海への扉って呼ばれてるんだって。
Yes, it's Mr. Beast.
10分のタイマーをスタート。
Oh, and Naruto, but whatever. But yes, it was a good time for musicals early 2000 in Japan. You got magical girls, you got shonen, but there was something missing. Wait, why do I hear a tennis ball bouncing? The Prince of Tennis changed the game, and no, I don't mean the game of tennis. The Prince of Tennis musical, also known as Tennimu, was such an explosive hit that it changed how 2.5D plays were done. Hell, it popularized the use of the term 2.5D stage plays among fans. The first show of Tennimu was done during the Golden Week of 2003, with only half the seats filled during its first run. However, thanks to the unexpected popularity, due to the word-of-mouth promotion and the request of merchandise of the show, made the production company, Marvelous Entertainment, continue the series, with each show covering a new arc from the manga storyline, with some streamlining and removal of the female characters, as Prince of Tennis was very popular among the female audiences in Japan, who came there to see pretty boys play tennis. And now the show that once had trouble filling up an entire theater was now allowed to perform in overseas territories like Korea and Taiwan, along with having its performances live streamed in Japanese theaters all around the country, as the venues couldn't hold all the people that wanted to see the performance. It was due to this play that the split between traditional musicals and 2.5D plays started to steepen, as this show was also the first big stage play that made rather unknown actors into superstars, showing the growing potential for starting actors. Around 2011, the number of production increased rapidly. Publishers and creators recognized the potential of the stage adaptation as another form of media adaptation alongside anime, live-action movies and dramas. The success of Tennimu over nearly 10 years and its growing audiences demonstrated this potential. Consequently, Japan's renowned manga, anime and games were increasingly adapted into 2.5-dimensional musicals. And the movement to promote these adaptations as a global entertainment genre began. Various companies joined forces, leading to the establishment of the association in March 2014. Successful production used interesting techniques to adapt the original works to the stage. For example, Tennimu used light and sound to represent tennis matches, and Haikyuu used something like projection mapping to depict volleyball games. With projection mapping, a technique where people use projectors to show images on non-flat surfaces, being used more and more these days. It was even necessary to create an entire theater for 2.5D plays, as older venues started to show their age and couldn't handle the technological requirements needed to keep 2.5D as visually interesting. The AIIA 2.5D theater in Tokyo was therefore created, and from its inception till its very end it was completely booked. However, it doesn't matter how good these special effects are. It is mostly to the fans of the works to imagine the real actions that take place. Like in Tennimu, the director thought that the tennis matches in the manga looked like dances and incorporated that into the stage play. And that was a great call. Same with Haikyuu, where the volleyball matches resembled dance routines more than actual matches, but still give you the same energy and movement you recognize of the sport. But, and I want to say this with the utmost respect as I can, this doesn't translate well for every sport. Yowamushi Paddle also has a musical, and since the source material is about cycling, you have to find a way to do that on stage, but still keep the actors mobile for when they need to break out in a dance. So instead of giving them full bikes, they only have handlebars. And it looks fucking stupid. I'm sorry. I try to be as open-minded as possible, but a line needs to be drawn somewhere, and this is apparently my line. But even if my suspension of disbelief isn't allowing this to click, it does for a lot of other people, as audiences perceive bicycles through the expressive performances thanks to director Shatner Nishida's unique theatrical style. And listen, if it works, it works. I'm not here to make fun of a director's vision or people's performances. And clearly I am in the minority in this case, which I think is primarily caused because I'm not watching these stage plays as intended, as I live a little bit too far away from Japan to casually visit a 2.5D stage play. Not to mention the language barrier. But the atmosphere of being there, seeing and feeling these performances, these costumes, props and special effects come into action at the same time right in front of your eyes. That must be a sight to behold that I haven't experienced. But what if I could? .5D plays are getting to the point of international acclaim. While their local interest has been growing for the last 2 decades, people from all over the world have been asking these plays in their own country, from China to Europe all the way to America. And one of the more popular ones that found its way outside of Japan was of course the Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon The Super Live Show, that was specifically made for international audiences, by having less Japanese speech than a normal stage play. This show was sold out during the 2018 Japanismus, which is a celebration between France and Japanese relations. It later on also performed at the Cherry Blossom Festival opening ceremony in Washington DC, and several more times in New York after that. Despite COVID halting the productions of many performances, 5 internationally well-known titles had their stage plays streamed live worldwide during the COVID era. And while not subtitled, you can legally stream these stage plays with a monthly subscription or a pay-per-view website like theatercomplex.town. I also previously mentioned the AIIA 2.5D theater in Tokyo. While that one has closed down as their license ran out, its replacement in Kobe has been up and running and has been just as popular, becoming a central hub for 2.5D musicals, ensuring a consistent and professional space for these types of performances. While that is for the domestic audience, internationally the association aims to expand the reach of 2.5D stage plays and establish them as a global entertainment genre. One of the key strategies that's going on behind the scenes is selling the rights for global performances. Basically the reverse of what Japan is doing right now is buying the rights of Western musicals. As such, the Japan 2.5 Dimensional Musical Association aims to sell the rights of 2.5D musicals for international performances. Sadly, this hasn't bore any fruits as of yet, as all the international 2.5D performances were created, performed and produced by Japanese people. The future is bright for 2.5D stage plays, folks, as these types of stage plays have been added to the program of the Tokyo School of Anime. This program aims to produce skilled professionals who can further advance the 2.5D musical genre. With increasing international interest and the integration of advanced visual technologies, graduates of the 2.5D Musical Studies program are expected to be at the forefront of innovative theater productions that blend traditional stagecraft with the fantastical elements of anime and manga. And maybe one day these plays will indeed be seen worldwide. Not produced back to 2D with the help of online streaming, but as it was intended, in real life at the local theater near you. Produced not just in Japan, but on a global level by local talents. I'm Durcoin and thank you for watching.